Hey guys, it's Greg. Just saw Matt's video, the latest one he put out, and he was talking about, he was actually talking about a conversation we had, where he had asked me about, what was it, Divorce Awakens, and I, I don't know if I explained well enough to him what I meant by when I said kids. I wasn't just talking about 8-year-olds. I'm talking about 40-year-olds that still should be 13. Um, they're going to pay to go see that movie. And I really, at this point, like I've told you before, with the music industry, uh, these people, they're extremely patient. They don't mind sacrificing one industry. They don't mind sacrificing sports for a little while, music for a little while. Like I said, with Napster, they sacrificed that for that, and then iTunes came out to where you could actually legally buy just the song that you wanted instead of buying the whole CD for 99 cents at that time or whatever. And I remember Walmart was selling them for 88 cents at first. But to get past that part, also, I got the Baja. And at the end of when I'm going to talk about with the elaboration, so that if people are interested to hear about the car, they can just stay on. Otherwise, they can just turn the video off. But to elaborate on the kids thing, I wasn't referring to 8 and 10-year-olds that just don't know the story background. I'm talking about 40, 45-year-olds. The guys that still live in their mom's basement, and my son is 23 years old. All he does is work and plays his Xbox. Okay? Now, the thing about that is, one thing about the Xbox, see, all of this comes down to instant gratification. Okay? That's what all of those graphics and that little bit of plot line for that storyline, it wasn't because it had nothing to do with referring back to the old stuff. Yes, of course, they used the Millennium Falcon, and that kind of led to, well, maybe that's how Han Solo got a hold of it, whatever. But and yes, it was ridiculous as hell that she could all of a sudden become an expert in it, even though she had a little of the Force. But you got to look at it this way. Those of you that are awake, or one commenter, which I liked the way he put it. Instead of saying awake, he said aware. I like that. So, those of us that are aware, we are an extreme minority compared to the zombie masses that we have to deal with and that they cater to. I told Matt that I truly, honestly believe that they're trying to recreate like a 1967 pop culture counter revolution. I grew up in the 70s. I was born in 69. Grew up through the 70s, so I was a benefactor of that revolution. So my life and my worldview is basically completely different than my grandparents were. But my grandparents were like a second set of parents to me, so they instilled those older values into me. I still have those older values. The older values, the older morals. Like I told you, I still say yes sir, I say yes ma'am, I hold the door open for people, I'll offer to help carry groceries for people, help carry bags at convenience stores when somebody comes in there and just overloads and goes crazy and they've got like 10 bags, and I'll do that. If somebody's having trouble loading something into their car from Sam's or Walmart, I will help. I'll even go I even go and straighten out the buggies. Shopping carts for you that don't know what a buggy is. Here we call them buggies. When I said the word kids, I don't think I explained it to him better. I didn't expound on what I meant. So what I'm talking about is 20 somethings, 30 somethings, even 40 somethings that are still kids. They're not mature. They have this crazy worldview of stuff like Pig Boy. They still believe that shit was real. This little, pardon my French, fucker is running around. By the way, he's been exposed already. I don't know if you know about this, but his Reddit channel has been found, and he said some shit on that contradicts what he's saying now. And also, remember the like 6 months to a year earlier when he got in trouble for putting a boogie board on a trash can, and he did his little TV interview on the news? That was in California, Redondo Beach, I think. Okay. Somebody has found an annual that has him in it as a senior in 2015. And if you think about it, he does look a little too old to be a high school student. And his dad is FBI. So he's been found having already graduated and making statements and things in California. Sorry, excuse me, my mouth's dry. And now he's wound up in a mass shooting at Park Earth High School. So he's being used. The kid is just the face of an agenda. And we've got dumbasses, even as old can be, marching in this same march. Number one, they don't understand that the AR-15 is not a machine gun. And number two, they can't take the time to look up what the assault ban consisted of. The original, it didn't keep you from being able to buy the rifle. It was a ban on accessories for the rifle. The rifle, they want to do away with all semi-automatics because they don't understand that a semi-automatic is not a fully automatic. They have no freaking clue about English or what words mean. So what I'm saying is, okay, I told Matt I think they're trying to recreate a 1967 pop culture revolution like what took place in 67. And I even did a video way back when it said something about, I said something about I wonder if they strategically released the iPhone in 2007. Now keep in mind that what I think the government considers a generation 40 years. Well, 2007 is 40 years from 67. And now everybody has their little black scrying mirrors, you know, black screen. The laptop has a black screen. My 55-inch TV has a black screen. All of my laptops are black. Nostradamus used his scrying mirror for his predictions. But these are not predictions anymore. It's programming. It's programming. They are. I mean, we've got people that get so caught up on Facebook that they're doing their farms. You know, people that don't ever want to be a farmer, but they're farming. And my dad, and Daddy, if you're watching, you know, I'm not trying to put you down, but you're still playing Mob Wars. Okay? You get on Facebook and check and make sure you didn't get your ass kicked. So, you know, and how old is Mob Wars? Now, like I said in another video, these people are so patient, they don't mind sacrificing an industry for a little while. And they didn't lose any money on The Force Awakens. I mean, it was a blockbuster hit. So, I don't even think that me, and anybody that's my age watching, I'm almost 49 years old. I'll be 49 in July. I usually just go ahead and say I'm 49, but I don't think that even those people like me, I know I didn't realize it. I had no idea that they started with book 4. And then 5, The Empire Strikes Back, that is my absolute favorite. I hated the Jedi movie. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite out of all of these. So, but these kids, even the ones that are in their 40s, they may remember Star Wars, and they may be Star Wars geeks. But it's like once you're inside that theater and you're watching that movie, the graphics is what it's entertainment. You know, now it's entertainment. It doesn't have anything to do with the older movies. It's programming. It's technology programming. Take the Xbox One, okay? I don't know if you've ever realized this or not, but the Xbox One, which you can pick up for $400, is probably one of the most advanced, highly technical computers that you can ever get. You couldn't build a computer to match what that thing does for $400. There's no way. That thing has an awesome graphics card in it, extremely fast processor in it, and I've never looked, but I'm sure somebody somewhere has figured out a way to manipulate that Xbox One to create it and turn it into a computer. And that would be great if, actually, I may look that up because I may go get one for something like that. I mean, think about what it's capable of, the graphics it's capable of. So, and I don't own one. I've got an Xbox 360 that I still play an old version of Madden on, and I play an old version of baseball on. I haven't bought a game in I don't know how long. I think I've got Wolfenstein for it. The Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But I'm a mouse and keyboard guy. You know, I grew up playing, I say grew up, but in my 20s, I played Quake, Half-Life, you know, stuff like that. Team Fortress, Capture the Flag, mouse and keyboard. I don't care about the gamepad. And as far as my flight simulator and stuff, I had, you know, throttle stick. So I remember the Papyrus NASCAR racing. 2003 was so advanced that it was way ahead of technology, as far as we had to wait for computer technology to catch up to get to it before you could turn on all the graphics. Now they've got stuff on an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 that you can't match. You can go to Newegg and try to buy the best of everything, and you can't match that speed. So these kids and anybody that owns one, they're used to these games. And usually these would be the ones that would be on this phone all the time. I mean, there's even a condition now called something like ... anticipation, where people are just sitting there waiting for that ... hoping it's something about them, or texting, waiting for that text. And it's considered a disease now, or a condition. So, oh, sorry, I'm very sore from all of the work I did on the rail and moving around and swapping stuff here and there, and the beetle that he got, and it's just anyway. But I don't think I told Matt exactly right when I said kids. I think he might have been under the impression that I'm talking about, like, youngsters. No, I'm talking about the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings, the 40-somethings that biologically may be older, but mentally they're still 13 years old, and now it's worse than ever. You and I, we didn't have those. And if you're 30 or 40 or whatever and younger, but you're watching this video, then please don't be offended, because you're watching this video, and that means you're aware. A commenter left a comment, instead of saying awake, saying aware. I like that better. That means you're aware. Okay? You're not like them. And even though we think that, because we see such bullshit in Pig Boy, even though we think we see it, we are completely, extremely outnumbered. And we're not going to be able to make a difference. We can't make a difference. Look at the dickhead Obama lighting up the White House with rainbow colors. Do you think that when the decision came in at 5 o'clock that he had time for people to run out there before dark, or immediately turn on to set up lights so that he can immediately turn that on and light the White House up like a rainbow? No. He knew the outcome way before that. The man is gay. Michelle's a transgender. I'm not having throat surgery. So if anything happens to me, I didn't hang myself like Carrie Dean did in some kind of sexual manner. I didn't get robbed by MS-13 and shot in the back. I'm not having a heart attack. So I'm saying Michelle's a tranny. And even if that came out into the open, you and I would care. But do you realize how outnumbered we are? They don't care. And people keep using this word democracy. Democracy. They don't understand that a democracy means mob rules. 51% of America tells the other 49% how to live. That's not what was intended if history is correct. What was intended was to have a federation, a republic, with one national federal government to coordinate anything that happens to one state so that all states get involved. Not to take over. We're supposed to have states' rights. We're supposed to be a federation, a republic of 50 different, several small countries. But that's no longer in effect. And oh, it's almost going out. I almost saved it this time. And by the way, I found out, and I'm quitting after my carton. They put carpet glue in these things. So if you smoke, the reason this cigarette goes out is a fireproof system. It's carpet glue. So you may want to consider quitting. I'm smoking carpet glue. Didn't know it. Okay. I don't think that I explained myself well enough to Matt. We didn't talk very long on that part of it. I mean, we did, but it was more like he said, we could have done a scene better in an hour and a half. And his conclusion is dead on. I'm not disagreeing with anything he said. But when I say that it was the kids, I'm talking about mentally kids, regardless of their biological age. It's like they're trying to start another pop culture revolution, except now they want to go more technical and get more into the Matrix deal. We've got people marching from that little idiot. They have no idea why they're marching. They've never looked up what the gun ban was. They've never looked up that AR on an AR-15 doesn't even stand for assault rifle. It's just ignorance. But it's like lemmings. They just follow. You know, and when I say kids, that's what I'm talking about. It's because of Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and whatever the hell else other kind of apps they use. I don't even know. I don't use any of that shit. But it's a dopamine hit. They need that instant gratification. And they're not going to sit in there and watch the plot line that flows to connect everything back. They don't care about that. They want entertainment. It's entertainment value. And I keep thinking about what, like, if you go back and watch one of my videos with the exponential function, he was using that as an example, talking about growth. You know, he started out with like a grain of wheat, and then he started talking about the population and stuff like that. But you can apply the same principle to growth of ignorance and idiocy and willingness to just fall in more, even more into this technical matrix system. So we are completely outnumbered, and even though we look at it from our point of view and we say that is so damn silly, that's so crazy, and then we try to convince them, they're not going to be convinced. And I'm starting to believe that we're looking at it wrong. Maybe we should start looking at it from their perspective. Outside looking in, and then try to find that key that would open up their mind to accept a little of what we're talking about, and maybe Like, I'm a big Shakespeare fan, so maybe like Hamlet said in, during the play, when the queen said, "Come sit by me," and he wants to go sit by Ophelia, and he says, "No, mother, here's more metal, or here's metal more attractive." So, for us to be the metal that is more attractive, hot almighty, good grief, carpet glue. For us to be the metal that is more attractive, we've got to look at it from their point of view. We've got to look at how they live. We've got to actually start studying how they live, how they see things, what their worldview is, how and find that key that's the breakthrough. Because we're looking at it too much from our point of view, our worldview, and saying, how can they believe this shit? Well, they believe this shit because that's what they've been raised to believe. They've been programmed. They're being programmed the whole time. They can't get their phone out of their face out of the damn phone. And it's an instant gratification thing. So I think that's what the graphics in that movie was about, and her being an expert, and because otherwise it would be too boring for them. And even though they might be sacrificing the storyline, they're still going to make money on it, and they're also rewriting it. It's not like us, hardcore fans of Star Wars. The newer, book 5 and 6, and then the prequels, they made no sense whatsoever in connecting things, and the prequels sucked because they used modern day really famous actors. Do you remember what it felt like when you watched Star Wars? You didn't know who Mark Hamill was. You didn't know who Harrison Ford was unless you watched American Graffiti, but even then he had a small part. Nobody knew who he was. That made him. That movie made him. So the prequels in 5 and 6, they used like today's most famous stars, and it made it just silly as shit to us. But to the ones that, on the outside of us, that majority of zombie masses, that's exactly what they want. They wouldn't have settled for actors they didn't know like we did. So, I said this might be a quick video, but it's not. And I apologize for that. Just wanted to expound on what I meant by kids. And with this video, along with Matt's, maybe that'll help. And Matt, I apologize that I didn't explain it well enough to you. I hope what I've said now might make more sense to you about what we were talking about. Okay, now regarding the Baja, it is a 1960. Okay, that is extremely rare to find, and it is in excellent shape. There's no dents, there's nothing, no wrinkles, there's no rust. Right now it's set up to be a Baja. It was built to be a dune racer, a safari racer. So it has a very special suspension under the bottom, and it has an extremely fast motor or engine. I'm guilty of calling it a motor. Folks, a motor is electrical. An engine is a combustible, needs a fuel, air, and whatnot. A motor is completely electrical. But in the South, we call them motors. Um, the engine on it was built for safari racing as well. And third gear is, they've done some work with the transaxle and changing the gear ratios. Third gear has no top end. Fourth gear is more like an overdrive to drop the RPMs. But third gear, you can run it all day long, wide ass open. And the thing is, all I have to do is go get a clip or order a fiberglass front clip for it, change the rear end back, put in the normal back end. Right now it's got a cage around it, but put the normal back end in it. Take the big off-road truck tires off of it and put smaller wheels on it. The point is, I can change this thing back to a Beetle if I want to. I can revert it back to a Beetle. Right now, I don't want to. Right now, I'm going to go to Tennessee in May for the bug run. Even if I just drive up there for the day and ride around. It's actually, I say Gatlinburg, but it's Pigeon Forge. I get those two. I don't say Pigeon Forge separately from Gatlinburg. I just call Pigeon Forge as part of Gatlinburg, even though they're separate. But the show will be in Pigeon Forge. So if any of you have VWs and you live close enough, or you want to go on a trip in May, you cannot beat that trip. I went last year, had a ball, even though it rained. And that's actually the year that they had a wildfire in one of the mountains on the other side of the mountain, and it was threatening Gatlinburg, but Pigeon Forge is farther north. But the car, with it being a 60, the VIN number is still in the back. It's not on the little windshield like it used to be, or like it is on the later models. It's still back in the back, and I sweetened the pot with it because I wanted this car bad. I actually gave the guy an LC9 pistol, which is worth about $450 or so. Plus, the LC9 had a laser installed on it that matched the gun sights. So all I had to do was put a red dot on someone. But I carry, and that's something else. Concealed weapon permit carriers, they protect. You are a lot safer in a store with somebody that has a concealed weapon permit, because they can take that threat out. It's been done before. It's happened before. People that carry, my sheriff here in this county is actually very famous. He was on Larry King, I think, or maybe Piers Morgan, I don't know, but he wants everybody in my county to carry. He insists, or tries to encourage everyone that's able. Felons can't own guns, but everyone that's able to go ahead and get their CWPs and carry, because I imagine, like in Texas or somewhere where you can openly carry, yeah, you had the Austin crap, but that was bombings. That wasn't like home invaders or whatever. If you can carry, you're much safer because you have somebody that can take out that threat immediately. But anyway, back to the car. I can always revert that car back to a regular Beetle. And with it being a 1960, it's a special car. That's why I gave up so much more than I did for it. I wanted that car. It runs very well. It's extremely fun to drive. Haven't had a chance to take it off road yet, but there's some places here that I can. So it's like the kids again. I say kids again, but the 20-something-year-olds are now, they're buying up all the Jeep Cherokees. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. They're jacking them up and they're having mud runs and pulling contests and things like that. So okay, I think I've talked enough and rambled enough, and I get sidetracked, so I apologize for that. Um, just wanted to elaborate on what I meant by kids. So, Matt, when you watch this, I'm sorry that I didn't explain this a little better. Maybe this will help you understand what I was trying to say. So, or at least hopefully it will. If you have a problem with it and you still don't understand, or if you want to discuss it further, just give me a call. As always, I'm free. So, alright, everybody. And by the way, I know I look tired. I am wore out from running around, doing this, doing that, getting everything ready. And it's just, plus the fibromyalgia, all the moving, bending, everything. It's just got me hurting a little bit and sore. So anyway, thanks for listening, especially if you're this far into it. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate, I can't think of the commenter right now, but instead of, he used the word aware instead of awake. And I really like that. So those of us that are aware, keep in mind we are a very small community, and we are a very small majority compared to the zombie masses. We might as well be those ants on a hill in Africa that nobody seems to give a shit about. So anyway, until next time, and I really apologize. I didn't intend to talk this long. So, but like I've told you, my medication, I get sidetracked, and so we'll just say that elaborated on Matt's in a reply, elaborated on that, and then also dropped a few ideas of my own. So, have a good day, everybody. I'm still working on the JFK stuff, and hopefully by the weekend it'll be ready. But have a good week, have a good day, and please, just please try to be good to someone. Hold the door for someone, and when they say thank you, say you're very more than welcome, sir. You're more than welcome, ma'am. You know, let some people know that some of us still exist. So, okay, have a good one, and I will talk to you later.